Okay, selamat pagi semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, saya nak ucapkan berbanyak-banyak terima kasih kepada Dr. Manraj. He does not need or require any introduction to all of us when it comes into teaching and learning. He has been innovated a lot of gamification. I learned a lot from him in terms of delivering PNP to all students. So we are very glad to have him here, Dr. Manraj, to share on the topic of assessment. Especially now we have to opt our assessment, turn them into the online assessment. So shall we wait? We have 30 participants, and of course, Dr. Manraj will help me to record. And I have been informed that certain department members are not able to attend. So after this, we can perhaps put it in the Facebook or the link in the website, so all of us can have a chance to go through again and again. Manraj, if I'm not mistaken, you have delivered the lecture as well to medical colleague.
I did last week, but we have to reschedule because of the internet connection.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So today I am bersiaran daripada rumah.
Much better,
Yes.
Much better from house. Okay. So if you have any question, feel free to perhaps ask at the end, or if you have during the session, and if you have any question, please feel free to put it in the chat box. I will help to deliver to Manraj in any time point. Yeah. So without further ado, I think Manraj, this is your stage now. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Boleh. Sihat, bagus.
Morning.
Excellent.
Good, thank you.
Excellent. All right. So before I start, I'd just like to thank Associate Professor Dr. Nisa and team for allowing me to share my experience with Putrablast. Basically, I'm just going to say I'm not an expert, but it's more of a sharing session. All right. So what I would like to do is, before we start the session, I just have a small request. Please give Putrablast a chance. Okay. I'm like you all. Putrablast and myself, we have a very love-hate relationship initially, but we managed to rekindle the love during the MCO. So and also UPM has already improved the user friendliness of Putrablast. So hopefully, can we just approach Putrablast with an open mind, and hopefully by the end of the session, we are able to better appreciate Putrablast and have a better understanding. All right. I'm just going to add some more individuals who are coming in. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen.
Raj, sorry, if it is easier for you, you can actually disable the waiting room. Hopefully nobody, outside of the organization got your link. So if you disable the waiting room, anybody can come in without you approving from time to time.
So they're able to come in, Dr. Ng, how? They're able to come in if I just disable, is it?
Disable the waiting room.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Ng.
Okay, done. All right, thank you, Dr. Ng. All right, so I'm just going to share my slides, basically. All right, so basically what we're going to do today is we are going to learn. Can you see the slides?
Yes, Manraj.
Okay. So basically what we're going to share today is how are we going to design and develop effective online assessments in Putrablast. So we have a lot of management system, but we'll just try to use Putrablast as an example, all right? So basically what we want to generate from today's session would be, at the end, we are able to understand what kind of assessments are there in Putrablast, how may we design and develop those assessments in Putrablast, and finally, the implementation process of this e-assessment in Putrablast. So hopefully by the end of the session, we'll have a better understanding of this process. So before I proceed, let me just give you a quick introduction of how this Putrablast came in. It's here already, but how was its importance was heightened during this MCO. So basically, 18 March onwards, we were requested to do online teaching, and then the UPM, with the help of Kate, of course, the Center of Academic Development, has come up with a guidelines, okay, on how do we implement online or virtual teaching environment in UPM. And they highly advise individuals to use Putrablast. So they came up with this pamphlet here, if you can see. So they provide assistance, they provide webinars, and also individual assistance if you want to use Putrablast and you want to create your own virtual learning. So in the meantime, there is a YouTube channel for Kate, Center of Academic, you just type in Kate UPM. They have the one, please subscribe. They have time to time, they have webinars and notification on all types of virtual and online learning, teaching and learning process. All right. So within Putrablast, I'm just going to highlight this section here. Okay. In Putrablast, as you know, we can do many things. All right. So we can have learning materials, but I just want to remind you that Putrablast is based on a learning management system, which is called the Moodle. So it's the latest version, which is 3.8. And one thing with the 3.8 Moodle learning management system, which is Putrablast is based on, it highly celebrates interactivity. Therefore, if you look at this blue section here, it has embedded many forms of activity, games, and so on and so forth, and discussion. So it's more of a interactivity form of learning. And then if there is also in Putrablast, there's also which is known as Panaksara, which is assessments. So here, these assessments is to provide assessments. So be it whether it's formative or summative assessment. So just a quick recap. Formative assessment is whereby it's sort of like a continuous assessment where you provide feedbacks to students. So like test 1, test 2 are considered formative assessments because you can provide feedback for students to improve during the courses. Summative is usually done at the end to gauge the understanding of students. So the most common summative assessment would be final exams. So all of forms of assessments in Putrablast or in Moodle, they're all categorized under the quiz tab. Okay, so if you look here, this is a quiz tab here. So all form of formative and summative assessments are embedded within this quiz tab. All right, and then yeah, so then after that, Kate understood that it's quite difficult to do an e-assessment of online because we are not exposed to it. So they came up with a guideline. Okay, there are 11 steps. Okay, on how we can implement e-assessments in UPM. So it starts from step 1 till step 11. Okay, so basically I'm not going to go through all these steps. Basically you start with you can use this as a guideline. I will share this later on with you. All right, designing and developing are all from stages 5 to 7. So it asks you, basically it tells you the step on, you ask on, first thing is how you check the internet accessibility of your student, up to how you document the things. Okay, so but for developing and designing, e-assessment is from step 5 to step 7. But one thing I would like to remind you is whatever form that we're going to use in e-assessment, UPM have given us of flexibility on how do we want to conduct the e-assessment. However, the most important thing is they emphasize is whatever form of assessment that you want to conduct, it still has to achieve its learning outcome. That is the only golden rule UPM says. It has to be addressing its learning outcome. So it's very important for us to remember this, okay? yeah, so they gave us this flexibility because of course it's new. E-assessment is new to all of us. But one thing I think is very important is we are still learning on how we are supposed to conduct e-assessment. We should not forget students as well, because it's also their first time doing online assessment. Therefore, we have to prepare ourselves, but we should also prepare our students on how are they supposed to conduct or carry out the e-assessment in Putrablast. So my piece of advice here is we need to prepare students for e-assessment. So the first thing what we do usually is we should set the tone and expectation of the e-assessment upfront. So you tell the students you're going to have the e-assessment. It's still required, it's still important. So they are aware that they have to do an online assessment. And most importantly also, you have to emphasize that even though it's an e-assessment online, it's online assessment, academic integrity is still called upon. So cheating, copying is not allowed. Okay, it's nice to be upfront because at least they'll set the tone, and in their brain psychologically they'll think, okay, it's still there's no cheating. Okay, however, whether it happens or not, there's no guarantee. Okay, but we can minimize it, which I'll talk about it later on. Okay, apart from this, setting the tone and telling them the do's and don'ts, it's also important. I believe, I think it's very good if we can prepare practice exams question, okay, for the students. So for them to allow so that they get familiarized with doing e-assessment in Putrablast, and also design those questions according to what kind of questions that you're going to ask in final, the format, not the same question, but the format, so that they are familiarized with it. Okay, I highly recommend this, because or else if you do not do this right, students are going to have all the technical problems during the exam, and then it's very difficult to address during that time. So create a practice exam session is very nice, so that you can familiarize the students on how the e-assessment is conducted in Putrablast. And also, it's something good to think of is reminding the student to be on time. So usually allow them to log in a bit earlier and prepare themselves. And most importantly, just remind students that they should, when they're doing the e-assessment, make sure they are in the right environment. They are in a quiet place. They have good bandwidth, good internet connectivity. And I advise, please use laptop. Do not use phone. Okay, students will use the phone because it's much easier for them. However, it's quite difficult to answer essay questions or exam questions using your phone. So ask them to get a laptop, all right, and then address any issues they might have that prevents them from sitting the e-assessment module prior to the date of the assessment. So we have to take a proactive role and ask students if they have any problems for them before they sit for the e-assessment. So we try to address as much as we can. Okay, and then we prepare contingency plan. All right, so now the biggest question is when we do online assessment is how can we reduce students cheating? Okay, I can personally tell you there are ways that you can, there are softwares, there are add-ons that you can purchase to minimize, to measure students' movement to see whether they are cheating or not. But that is, of course, if you want to invest. But however, in Putrablast, we do not have those eye movement, hand movement, facial recognition ads, and to minimize cheating, all right, or cheating risk. But however, there are a few steps that we can take that could minimize. I'm not going to say that there's never going to be cheating. Students are very creative, all right, but we can minimize it. Okay, so how do we proctor and minimize cheating risk in e-assessment is basically, I would suggest first is creating the type of questions that we create is very important. Okay, because of e-assessment, we cannot do a low-level question, basic question, because they can find the question online. Okay, Putrablast, like some platforms, right? When you minimize their platform, they'll automatically log out, and then they know that you are not supposed to open another tab. However, Putrablast doesn't have this function, so students can open the tab and find. So we advise is to create higher level of Bloom's taxonomy of types of question. Okay, usually we want level 5 or 6, which is the top two most. which is evaluate and create. So it's usually higher order thinking types of question is advisable to reduce time cheating risk. Okay. Also, within Putrablast, we are able to randomize the sets of questions. So what happens is students, even though, okay, let's say students are sitting and they all have to answer 50 questions. All students will answer the same 50 questions. However, student 1, student 2, student 3, and how many you have, all of them are not going to sit for the same question. So students question number 1 will be different from student 2's question number 1. So they have already shuffled the questions, but all of them eventually are going to answer all the questions. So that's one way to minimize cheating risk as well. Okay. Another third way is you give them time limit. Okay. Present the question. Usually we love to present the question, one question at a time, right? And then you have a time limit for the whole session. So this will not give students the time to go and search for answers. Okay. Apart from that, what we can do is we only allow them to sit for the test synchronously, means live. Okay, means on that time. It's not like you can bring home and do your work. Okay, usually if you want, you can do that. If you want another form of alternative assessment, you can do. But if you want to do a proper EA assessment summative, then you can't do that. And allow only one attempt. So students, you have to remind this, if you're going to put one attempt, means they only can try once. And if they fail to do during the attempt, they are automatically disqualified. So it's very important to remind them, to the students, that they only can attempt once. Okay, that's why I say the practice session is very important, because practice session you can allow them to do many times, but however during the real time there's only one attempt. Okay. And also, if you want, in Putrablast, you can ask students to capture their live log, means you take a picture and they are sitting in the section. So you can take a form of attendance by facial. Okay. But if you want to be more rigid as well, you can have a concurrent Zoom session, whereby if you want to be very strict, you can have other lecturers monitoring a group of students. Okay. There are some IPTs which have, like, when I'm like, let's say I'm a student, I'm sitting here, I have Zoom, they want you to put a mirror behind, because then they can see your surrounding as well. Okay. If you want to go to the extent, you may do so. Okay. And also, yeah, and ask them to log in earlier and make sure everything is all set before we conduct the online assessment. So I think it's enough of me talking. So before we go into Putrablast, I just want to tell you, in Putrablast, there are 15 types of questions that can be converted into e-assessments, okay? From multiple choice question up till all the complex one, okay? I won't cover all today because 15 is a lot, but I'll cover which is most commonly used. But rest assured, you can contact me whenever you want on any specific requirements that you think that you need assistance with. Okay, I'm more than happy to help. So we have multiple choice questions, true, false. We have matching, we have short answers, we have essay, and so on, and drag and drops options. Okay, and others as well. So without wasting time, let's use Putrablast. I'm going to stop sharing now. I'll share my Putrablast. Any questions so far?
Morning, Maraj.
Yes, good morning.
Kak Zack. Morning. Your how to minimize the cheating, your
Yes.
number 3, you said that you can have a time limit for each question. So that one you will share at the next topic ke, Maraj?
Yes, it's not the
Okay.
Putrablast don't have for each question, but usually they have it for the whole session. So if your exam is 2 hours, there is a timer there. So students are aware of the timer, and within that 2 hours they have to finish. So you do not give, so you roughly think how long a student will take. So every question you don't give too long. Like how we say for MCQ, right? We give 2 minutes usually when we are reading during exam. We might shorten it out because 2 minutes is quite long in online assessment. Depends on your type of question. So you give them enough time, but not enough time to just go around and check for answers and come back. Yeah, but there is an
Okay.
option. I'll show you that later on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more? Any more questions? No. Okay. So I'm just going to share my Putrablast. So I'm going to log into my Putrablast. Okay. Can you see my Putrablast?
Yes,
Manoj.
clearly.
Okay. So this is a normal Putrablast. I'm not going to go in how to use Putrablast, but basically, let's say, okay, I want to create one of the courses here, okay? I'm teaching with Dr. Rosaini. Let's say EHOH 4301, okay? Let's say I want to create a summative final exam question within the, for this course, okay? So what I do is, of course, if you want to edit anything, you have to, okay, I have this blue color. If you can see, you just follow this blue color arrow. If you want to do it together, can as well. But if you want to listen, by all means, please do so. So we just turn the editing on. Okay, let's say I want to create, okay, editing is on. I want to create a session by itself, a final exam session. I don't want to embed within my course outline. So I'll just add another topic, and I'll just have one section for this. Okay, so I'll call this assessment final exam, let's say. Okay, so this is basically the outline where the students can see, okay, we have final exam here. Okay, but you can share, or you don't want to share with the student, you can do so as well. So this is just a front page to tell students there is a section of final exam as well. Okay, so just remember this, I'm just teaching on how to do assessments, but actually this one you can use for quizzes, for indirect, you don't have to be a formal summative assessment, it can be formative as well. Okay, so I'll just go here, I'll say add an activity or resource. So now you have created a section where you want to put all your assessments question. So this is where we're going to add our assessment question. So when you click this, add an activity or resource, right? So they have a lot of activities which you are familiar. But what we're going to go through is assessment is all under the quiz tab. So I'm just going to click this radio button here, quiz. Okay, you want to click once, there's a description, then you can click add as well. If you just double click as well, it will automatically bring you to that as well. So you can do either way. Okay, so what happens is once you click and quiz, and then you put in add, it's going to bring you to a front page. We call it a setup page. Okay, this setup page is, let's say, like, you know, when you have the physical exam question, the front page, you want all the instruction, all the information. We can do that here. So this is what it is. Okay, so I'm just going to put some description here. Okay, let's say this one is EOH 4301 final exam. This is my title. Okay, and if you have this red bar, means you have to put in some information there. Okay, then the second part is, I love to put, this one is what I like to put here is for the description part, I would love to put in information or instruction, exactly how the front page of the exams is. Example, I would like to put is a course code, the time, the date, and then of course this last few things is what I think is, for me, is very important. You have to inform the students, they have to answer what kind of questions, and it's nice to just remind them that there are how many total questions, right? If you just say please answer all questions, they might come and ask you how many questions, all questions. So might as well just say answer all 15 questions. At least they will know there are 15 questions they have to answer. The time is there, they can adjust. Okay, and also very important to tell them is, you have only one attempt to answer and complete this exam. And of course, remember, cheating is not allowed. And if you found or you've been caught, 0 marks without notice. Okay, so I like to put all this information, or whatever information that you fancy, please do put in. And I like to display this. So it's like sort of student know already. So it's an advanced notification. Okay, then you can set, this is the general information of the front page. Then you can set the timing. Here, the timing. So when you want to open, the quiz means it's not the quiz, it means quiz, assessment, test, everything. When you want to open, when you want to close. Usually I will enable it. Okay, let's say for today we want 24th, okay? But I want it to be at 9 a.m. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, and then I want to close automatically the quiz on the same date after 2 hours. You can set the timing as well. Okay, but if for other courses, if you want to put in different dates and different time, please do so. You can do that as well. So this is the thing, the timing here. This exam will open on the 24th at 9 a.m. and will automatically close at 11 a.m. And I like to put the time limit here. Okay, the reason why I like this time limit here is you can put whether it's in days or whatever. For this you can put in hours, minutes, or seconds. I know it's 2 hours. I put it 2 hours. The reason here why I like this is because when students take the exam, there is actually a 2-hour timer there. So there is a countdown itself. So at least students are aware of timing, or else they come and ask you how many more minutes, how many more minutes. It's irritating. So might as well just provide them that. Okay. In Putrablast, if you see around, if you're not sure what this section does, is you can see this question mark arrow here. So if you just click on it, it will provide you some information. So you can read and you can understand the information for future references as well. Okay. So I'll do this, okay? And then it will tell you what happens when the time expires, okay? So there are a few options. I usually leave the first option here. Open attempts are submitted automatically, which means that wherever the students are in the set, all answers will be submitted, whether they finish or not the exam, okay? I usually leave at that. There are options whereby you can say the student, okay, now time is up. You cannot answer any more questions, but you can go back and check whatever you have not finished, whatever that is you think you want to add on, whatever answers that you have from that section, which you have answered, which questions you have answered. You want to adjust, you can give some minutes. It can give until maybe 20 seconds or 10 seconds to up to 5 minutes to submit, okay? The harshest one I think is attempt must be submitted before time expire, or else they won't be counted. It means that students, even they finish or not, before the 2 hours is up, they have to click the final thing. Failure to do so, all their answers will not be considered. So they will be disqualified. Of course, we don't want that, because in case anything happens, it's quite difficult. But if you want to, please do so. I just prefer whatever answer they have given, just submitted. So I'll just put that thing, open attempts are submitted automatically, okay? Then we go to the next section, the grade. Here you want to tell the system, okay, what is a grade to pass. If you want, the grade category is usually uncategorized. You can't do anything much, okay? Whether you want to set here, if you don't set, it's fine, okay? This is just basically you want to tell the system if the student achieve 50%. If you have no sections, you want to continue for your quizzes to say, oh, you can go to level 2. Then you can say, I need 50%, okay? Then only they can proceed to the next section. But for a summative, you do not need to do that. But here, this grade to pass is from a value of 0 to 10. It means if it's 50%, means it's 5 marks, okay? And then attempts allowed. So this is how many times the students are allowed. So you have options here from unlimited to 1 to 10. So it's all up to you, okay, if you want. So basically for summative, we'll fix it at 1. But however, if you want for your quizzes, there are other options. Then they have this grading method. If you say, I allow them to attempt 4 times, what kind of, within these 4, what marks do you take? Whether the first attempt, the last attempt, average, so on and so forth, or the highest of the 4. So you have this option here. So you can tell the system that if they are allowed to attempt 4 times, I want the highest grade. Do that. However, if it's only 1 time you're allowed, then of course the option is disappear, because you can only attempt 1. So there's the only mark, okay? Then there is grading. Layout. Okay, layout here it is going to tell you, okay, that how would you like to present the question? Whether 1 question per page, or 5 questions per page, or all questions within 1 page. I personally will love to stick to 1 question, 1 page, because if you give 50, you know, psychologically, you're going to be like, there's so many questions. So just go with 1 to 1, but you have the option. Okay, every page we can have every question up to every 50 questions as well. So every 50 questions, so 1 page can have 50 questions. But I like 1 page, 1 question, okay? And also then you can decide on the navigation, okay? Whether you want the student, so let's say the answer here, the navigation is basically whether student can go back and check the answers. You can allow or you can not allow them. Means they have to finish that before they proceed. They cannot go back and check. So free means they can go back and front within the 2 hours. They can go back and check question number 1, even if they're finished, and they can go and check whatever question. If cannot, they have to finish 1 and then finish 2. Then only they can proceed. Means they cannot go back. Then it's called sequential. Means they cannot go back. Okay, so it's up to you. But I'll just leave it as free for the moment. Okay. Now this question behavior here. The next step. This one is, do you want to shuffle the questions? So yes, because for this, we do encourage you to shuffle. If you don't want, you can put no, okay? Right? But then you have to think, if you put this as sequential, then shuffle might not be the best option. So it's up to you to adapt, okay? I'll say, yes, I want to shuffle. And then you want to how would you want this question to behave? Whether do you want to provide feedbacks or not? If you want to provide feedbacks, you can do all the types of feedback here, whether the feedback is immediate or after the end of the session. But for summative, because it's the end of it, final exam, we do not provide feedback, so we defer the feedback. So we do not provide feedbacks. But for your quizzes and stuff, if you want to, this is where you can do the option here. Okay. Another thing, this review option, this one is not much. You don't have to worry too much. It's basically on once a student have completed the session, whether they can go back and check whatever information they have, whatever grades they want, the marks they want. I will just leave it as a default. It doesn't matter because this is not the current one. They have to finish, then only you can go back and check the marks and stuff. If you feel like you want to unclick all this, please do so. Okay, whether you can check the attempt, how many times they want to check the marks, they want to check, because we do not provide marks for a final exam. There will be 0 marks there, but it doesn't mean if the student got 0. Okay, so this is what you can do, but usually I just leave it as default. Then we talk about appearance. Okay, appearance here is, now show the user's picture. It means the students, when they log in, they have to show, they have to capture their image. If you want to have that option, put this option here. Okay, and also the grading here. The grading, decimal place in grades. Whether, because Putrablast, when you put in the answers, it can automatically mark for you as well. So it takes a bit of time, but then you don't have to do the marking manually, except for the essay question. The essay question in Putrablast, you have to mark manually. So whether you want to have how many decimal point until 5, or if you don't want, you can just round up, or you want to have 1 decimal point, it's up to you. No problem at all. And others, if you want to be very specific on where it should be, what kind of question, grades or overall, and then if you want to show blocks. Blocks means how many times the attempt, but we don't do anything with this because we are just doing 1 attempt. Okay. So if you want to be very strict, right, you can have extra restriction on attempt. It means you can provide students with password. Okay. If you want to provide them with password, then only they can log in and answer the question. But sometimes what happens is students will forget the password and then it might create. But if you want to do so, you can do. Some is even, if you want to be even strict, they can only log in with the IP of university. Then you can put in here the network address. So you have to put in the network address. You can ask from, you can check online from your computer system, the IP address. Means they have to log in through UPM IP address. Then only they can access the question. Else, mobile data, whatever, cannot. If you want to do that, they provide you with this security system. Okay. If you want to add on here, it's all the information. Okay. And then the next step, for me, I'll just leave it empty. I do not require network. I do not require password. Okay. Overall feedback. If you want to provide the feedback, how the pattern of the feedback is, you can put it here. Okay. Let's say if they achieve 80 to 100, you want to say, well done. Example, this is general, overall. If they achieve 40 to 50, good, but still can do better. If it's a 0 to 40, or please try again, go back and revise this section, something like that. You can provide feedbacks if you want to, okay? But of course, for us, we don't need any feedback, okay? And then these are all restriction access here, okay? All right, this one is the common module setting, is whether you want it to show on the course page or you want to hide from the student. So it's up to you whether you want to show or you want to hide for the moment, you can do so. Okay, that one I think everyone knows. Restrict access is even to provide more restriction, right? Whether prevent access date until when, or you want to achieve some specific grades or whatever. Here are all the additional restrictions. I'm not going to go into it. I'll provide information, but because summative, we don't have to provide grade and stuff. Date, yes, automatically we put that date in already on top. So prior to that date or after the date, they will not be able to access. But if you want to make sure that you want to be double confirm, you can click on here, okay? All right, and then activity completion. Okay, it means that students can mark manually the activity they completed. Okay, this one, if you are summative, you do not have to. If you want that as a record, you can do so. Okay, means that at the end, oh, I have completed this activity, means I have done this activity, not okay. But if it's quizzes and stuff, you want to know where they have gone, then you can do so. Okay, and then tags. Tags means you just want to tag this question or this section so that you can use for future referencing. Competency, we're not going to do anything much with this at the moment because there's nothing, no tag, because I have no exam question for this. And then competency is if you want them to measure anything, how shall I say, how competent they are within the first test and stuff. So if you set the bar of competency when you're learning Putrablast, then you can access here. But for this moment, I'll just leave it 0. But if you want, I can go through this later on, because this is not about really about how to set the exam question. But if you need more time, just come and message me or call me or whatever, we can address this. So once you're happy with all this information, you just save and display here. Okay, so what happens is now, if you scroll here, here is the information. So this is the front page, okay? So can you see, it gives you all the instruction here. It's very important. And then you have additional attempt. Attempts allowed 1. Quiz opens on this time and this close. Time limit is 2 hours. So all the informations are here already, okay? So students will get this, and down here at this moment, you'll be like, answer quiz. Then only they can click on, okay? Before this time, they will never be allowed to click. But for us, no, because we are lecturers, so our format is different. We can edit the quiz. Edit the quiz means now we already set the front page. Now we're going to put in questions into this edit quiz here. So
Raj, can I interrupt
yes.
for a second, Dr. Abda? This is Dr. Abda. Okay, for other lecturers, what you can do as well, you can hide the topic, the box section, because just in case if you accidentally open the date before the time that you have set, maybe sometimes we forgot to to enable the date, so the student might see your final exam questions. What you can do is you hide the box, the section box. Then on the date itself, then you uncheck, meaning you unhide from the students.
Yeah.
This is one tips.
Yeah.
Because this is what I've done before. Okay, thank you. You can continue.
All right, thank you, Dr. Auda. Correct, yes. So you can hide it as well, yeah. Okay, so let's say now we have created this front page here. Now you want to add on questions. So here is edit quiz. So you click on the edit quiz. This is where it comes out. This is your question template. So this is where it will give you a summary of all the questions that you have put in, okay? So here is where you can, all your questions are. Here you can decide the maximum grade, whether you want, means total sections, how many you have. Total is 100 marks, then you should put 100 marks. If it's 10, 10, 50, 50, no problem. Just put it and then you put save. And then just another reminder, you can click the shuffle option here, okay? This click means it's going to shuffle the questions within it, okay? And then now, because I don't have any questions, I can add the question. So we'll go through one by one, okay? So let's say we have, when you click on add, they give you an option, whether it's a new question or is it from a question bank or is it a random question, okay? So since I have no question here, it's a new question. But what happens is now in Moodle, whenever you create this question, it will automatically compile all the question and deposit it into a question bank. And this question bank, you can navigate. If you look here in your side panel on your left hand side, under the administration here, at the end, there is question bank. So this question bank is for future questions. You can go and access this question as well, and then you can come up with new question sets, okay? So that's how you do, okay? If you want from question bank, means you go and select a question bank, what kind of question you want. Or if you said, I don't want, I got so many questions, I let the system to select how many. I have maybe 200 questions. I want it to select 50 questions. So you can ask, I want a random question. So you just tell them I want 50, randomly they'll choose that 50 question. You can do that. But for now, because we don't have any question, we'll create a new question. Okay, so here, when you put the create new question, it gives you options. So you have the 15 options of questions that you can ask in Putrablast, okay? From multiple choice, true, false, matching, short answer, numbers, calculation, essay, and so on and so forth, and drag and drop option, okay? We can go through, I'm not going to go through all, but I'll go through the most common one. Okay, let's say we start with multiple choice. Okay, so we just click multiple choice and then we click add. So what happens now is we are creating question number 1, which is the multiple choice. So now this is okay, it's automatically default because you already said that it's going to be in 4301. Okay, so question number 1. So this is your question tag. So this is where you ask the question. Okay, let's say I'm just going to put whatever question, okay? I'm not, please do apologize. Don't worry about the question. It's just to tell you, my question is, this is my question, okay? You just have to remember there are so many editing options. So you can put question here, text. If you want to put image, right, you can put here, this is the icon for image. If you want to put recording your voice, you can do so as well, okay? Or if you want to insert an audio file, you can do so here as well. Or if you want to take a video record and you want to ask question personally, you can do so as well, okay? Is someone okay? All right, these are all the options given to you, okay? Let's say I'm just going to do it text for now. What is the most common type of thyroid carcinoma, the thyroid cancer? This is my question. Then you have the option here of marks. What kind of marks you want to give for this question? 1 mark per question, then you set it. If you want to give 2 marks per question, you put 2 marks here. But never mind, if you suddenly say, oh, after you set this question, then you want to change, you can change it later and I'll show you where. And then if you want to provide feedbacks, this is where you put the feedback. But for us, we are not going to provide feedback, so we can just leave it empty. And then here you have the options of whether it's multiple or one answer. Usually it's only one answer, but if you want to have multiple answers, you can do so. And then the option, once you click the shuffle options initially, just now, the options here are clicked. And then what kind of ABCDs would you like? Would you like small or capital letters or 1, 2, 3? It's all up to you. Let's say we choose capital ABC. So this is the question. Now this is the answers. Okay. So what are the answers? I want to have 4 answers, A, B, C, D as usual, right? So what happens is you just put in the possible answers. So the choice 1 is, let's say this one, follicular carcinoma. This is the answer. If this is the right answer, then you can give them grades. To grade here. If it's right answer, then you give 100. If it's the wrong answer, you can give it 0 or none. Okay, means there's no marks for it. But sometimes if you know in quizzes, if you want to give different marks, you can do so. But usually for this, you'll just give the 1 correct answer. So follicular carcinoma is not the answer. Okay. Then we can have other, okay. So other options will be papillary carcinoma. This is the right answer. So I'll put it at 100%. So this is to tell the system that this is the right answer, and others will be all the wrong answer. So you can just put in other options as well. Okay, so I got 4 choices. Okay, A, B, C, D. Okay, but if you want to add more choices, you can do so. If 5 is not enough, you just click on this blank for 3 more choices. You can put in. Okay, if you want to. Okay, so it's all up to you. Then here the next step is if you want to provide feedbacks, but we're not providing feedback, so we don't have to go in. We have no multiple tries, because what happens here is if students want to try, if they're going to try multiple times, if you want to penalize them, you can do so here. Okay, but we have no multiple tries, so we don't have, just leave it as default. Text is just to text as well. So now once you're happy with the question, you just see save changes. Click save changes. So what happens now is you go back to your question bank here. Okay, can you see? So you have this question here already, right? What is the most common type of thyroid carcinoma? So let's say here, remember I told you just now, if suddenly you set 1 and suddenly 1 mark for this question, so you say no, 1 mark is not right. You want to have it 2 marks, then you can still edit here. So you can put here 2 marks. Okay, so you can just press edit and you can put 2 marks. Okay, so automatically 2, press enter. Okay, automatically you'll change it to 2 marks. Okay, one thing I would like to show you here is, okay, you have icons here. This icon, this 3 dots icon means it's a MCQ type of question. So every 15 questions have different icon. And then you have this setting here. This is where you want to click if you want to edit and go back to the question. Okay, but if you want to see what the students see, this is the delete. Next to it, this is the preview question. This preview question is how the students will see this question. So if you click on it, this is how the students would see. Can you see this? The blue color? Can you see this blue color when I click on it? No.
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 Nothing change.
I have to share again. So the pop-up will come out. Okay. So a pop-up will come out. Can you see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
once you click that, this pop-up will come out. So this is how the students will see the question. What is the most common type of carcinoma? So select one. So they have to select here. Okay, let's say the answer was papillary carcinoma is here. So you can click, okay? So what happens is then you can submit and finish if you want to try this question. So you submit and finish, but nothing will happen. But what happens is you can double check here whether you want to show the display option, whether you want to show them the correct answer or not. Because we select, we don't want to show any answers. So there's not shown, marks not shown as well. Okay, decimal point one, everything is not shown. So you're not going to show them anything. So sometimes the marks might, they show the maximum marks means 1 mark only, or you want to say, no, don't show any marks. You can do so as well. Then if you change here, there's update and display option here. Okay. Now, if you see what happens is, if you start again, okay, look at this options here. Medullary, anaplastic, follicular, papillary. If you start again, they will change. Can you see now papillary becomes top? So it will automatically shuffle the questions. Okay, so these are the options that you, so this is something nice. Once you set the question, go back and see how the student will preview this. Once you're happy with it, just close the preview. You can go back to your Putrablast. Okay, and set back the question. All right, any questions so far for MCQ?
Hi, Manraj, Saliza ni.
Yes, yes, doctor.
Yeah, regarding that questions bank.
Yeah.
Okay, is it from the current session or can we import from the previous session?
Yes. If you want to, if you have previous session, if you have already saved previously, you can access that as well. And sometimes people will say that, oh, I don't have this within Putrablast, I did not save, but I save in words. You can import your words question MCQ into Putrablast. I will show you how to do it because it's a bit of formatting. You have to format a bit. At the end, I'll tell you how can we import questions from your Word document into Putrablast. We can do that. But I'll just say later on because then at least we understand the system that we can do that. Is that okay?
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
Manraj, Manraj, I have a question, Manraj. Dr.
Yes,
Rosita
yes,
here.
Dr. Rosita.
Manraj, when you do the settings here, when you say attempts allowed, and then you put, for example, 4 times, meaning that the navigation has to be free as well, right? Set at free. The navigation, because when you put it sequential, then they cannot turn back to do another attempt.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct. So what happens is the attempt option is how many times the student can attempt. All right. So let's say for this we put 1 means only 1 time. But if you put 4 times, once they finish this section, they can go back and do it another round.
I know, but the navigation has to be set at free too, right? Or as they cannot go back.
But if it's you know if the attempts are, if they can do, because these attempts are independent. Let's say I got 5 questions, right? If they have to answer question 1, then only they can proceed to question 2. This is sequential. It means they have to finish all the 5 questions, then they submit, then they can go back and re-attempt boleh.
Okay.
Faham? The attempt is they have to finish the module, then they go back and re-attempt. Not in between the re-attempt, tak boleh.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
All right. So this is the type of MCQ question. But certainly if you want to have another type of MCQ question, which we usually do is, you know, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, then A, 1, 2, 3, B, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, all of the above. We can do that as well. So I can show you here as well. Those kind of MCQ question. We put another new question, MCQ. Okay.
Manraj, while you are waiting, so if you put shuffle there, and then the question name is by number, will that become a little bit confusing in the student presentation?
Not much. It might do, but how shall I say? It's something for a record system. You know, at least then you can double check the student has answered all 50 cards. In case some students say, Doctor, I don't think I got 50 questions.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. So I usually put that. But yeah, you can inform the students that don't worry about the number. They are usually 50. So it's all randomized. Boleh. If you want to leave it empty, you just say question, pun boleh. Tak apa. But the problem is you have to fix something there because it's a ruangan wajib.
So in other words, student will see that number is scattered lah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. If you don't want to put the number, you just can put question. Example, question. So you come out as just question. Okay. You can do that as well. All right.
Right.
So now, yes.
Sama here.
Yes. Sama.
If we have the type of question yang related to each other,
Yes.
like one scenario, and then you've got the 3 different questions.
Okay.
So then it will.
So
Is there any way you can pull that
can I ask Sama, those questions is it for MCQ? Is it?
MCQ? Yes, but
Okay.
it's scenario, and then there are 3 questions coming
Yes.
from that scenario.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
is there any way that we can
Yes.
pull that together so
You
that it
can
doesn't
pull that
shuffle?
question if you want to. I can tell you later on. But
Okay.
you can just give the scenario and give 3 questions. But then they have, what happens is sometimes the students might have to go. The reason is you give them the scenario and then they can answer the 3 questions, right? I usually love to do what is to be on the safe side, because I'm not sure how students, sometimes they want to go back and read. I usually give the same, let's say the first three questions answering the same scenario. For each question, I'll do a separate question. I'll give the same scenario.
Okay.
Boleh juga. But if you want to combine pun boleh, nanti later on you come and see me, I can show you. But then but the problem is kadang-kadang nanti student kata, suddenly the system kata only the first question ada the scenario, second question tak ada scenario. Dia dah go back. Kan? So just to make sure, just put the scenario. There's no harm giving the another scenario the same thing, kan? So at least they can read. So yeah.
All right.
That's my options lah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Raj.
All right. Okay. So shall we continue? So now let's say I have this question. Which are the types of tire? So this is option 1, 2, 3, 4. So now what happens is I'm not doing anything here. Multiple choice. Now one answer only. A, B, C. Now the choices here I will say. Then I'll just give this kind of choices. None of the above. Example. Are you all following me or am I too fast? Or is it okay?
Okay, Raj.
Okay, Manraj.
Okay.
Doing good job, Raj.
Takut. I'm just putting in the thing. Okay, so let's say this one. All of the above. So the answer is actually all of the above. Okay, so this is how it is. Then you don't have to change anything. No feedback, no tries, nothing. Save changes. All right. So now, okay, let's go back and see to this question. How the preview of the question. Sekejap, I have to stop sharing.
Sorry, Manraj, yang the multiple choice, the grading, so you need to have 100% and none of that, kan? Tadi tak buat, kan?
The grading is whatever marks that you want to give, tak kisah.
Yeah.
But what happens
betul.
when you want to save tu, you kena tally nombor kat atas tu dengan all the question punya mark kat bawah.
Right, okay. Thank you.
All right. So this is how the question will look like for the student. Can you see?
Yes.
So then you can set the question, then they can choose here. So it's exactly the same. So you can do this as well for the MCQ and everything, because I've set this now already. So everything you can edit here if you want to. Okay. So I'll just close the preview again and I'll stop sharing. Done. Then I'll go back to the Putrablast. Okay. So now we go to the next question type of question. Now let's say we have true false. Okay, this true false question here is, it doesn't provide you a lot of options. So basically you have a true false, so it's only a statement, so the students can only choose whether it's true or false. If you have multiple true false, I would suggest convert it to MCQs for the other questions, like all the following questions are true. Which are the following questions are true? Something like that, right? So because this for true false question here, the options, they have only one. Whether it's right or wrong, they cannot have multiple true false. You can convert that to MCQ if you want to. All right. So okay. Let's say I'll set a question here. Okay, so question, let's say this is question number 3. So question number 3, let's say. All right. So papillary. Okay, papillary carcinoma. Okay, papillary carcinoma is the most common type of let's say is the most common type of thyroid cancer. Like the same question. Is this statement true or false, right? So you can just put in. Okay, right? So this is the question here, default marks, feedback. So here is correct answer. So what is the correct answer? If it's true, then you just put it true. If it's false, you just put it false. So this statement is true, so I'll just put it here as true. Okay, I don't have to provide feedbacks, and then no tries, no tags, I'll just save it. So this is how you create a true or false question. So you put a statement, so whether it's a true or false statement, that's it. Okay, and now I'll just unshare again. I'll share back again the student preview. So yeah, this is how the student will look like. Papillary carcinoma is the most common type of thyroid carcinoma. True or false. So student can just click true or can click false. So these are the only option. Multiple true, false, I would say suggest convert it to MCQ. All right. Any questions on true, false? No. Okay. So let's go back to Putrablast. So another type of question that we can do is, we create a new question. We can do is matching. Means they are going to match the questions with the answer. Okay. So we put add. Okay, let's say, okay, so this one we have question number 4. So here the text question is, usually you don't just say, you don't provide the questions, you know, it's like you want to match, because the option is at the below. Here you just say, please select the best match, for example. Okay, so those matches, if you scroll down, default mark is still 1, and then no feedback. Okay, you want them to shuffle, okay, can. So the question here, okay, so let's say my question would be, okay, so lung. So okay, well, so what is the, I just put lung. So automatically the answer, this is the right answer, not the options of the answer, but what is the right answer here? So the right answer is respiratory. Let's say this is the options that we have here. Okay, and then second one is, let's say I say kidney, and then the word here would be excretion. So I want to, I want them to find the functions of each organ, let's say. Okay, so on and so forth. I'm just going to give you a few options here. You can put as many as you want them to match. Liver is metabolism. Okay, what I like to do is, right, so you have 3 options here. So they'll put their lungs. So lungs, what is the function, whether it's respiratory, excretion, or metabolism? They will give you the option. So students have to choose this option. But what I like to do additional to that is, I wanted to provide distractors, which means that I only got 3 questions, but I have more than 3 answers, so that they won't have a chance to agak-agak, you know, estimate which is the right, which is the wrong. So what happens for that kind of question is, I'll just leave the questions empty, but I'll provide more answers. Okay, so example, let's say I want to provide 2 more answers here. So this one, liver metabolism, this one I'll just leave it empty. I'll provide more, so I'll provide distribution, let's say. Okay, and then I'll provide some more answers, absorption, distribution. Then I have, so you have 3 questions but 5 possible answers, so they have to select the right one. Same thing, nothing to change here. Save changes. All right, so now we have this question here ready. Can you see all the icons are different? This is MCQ, MCQ, this true, false, this is matching. Okay, now I have to unshare again, stop sharing. I'll go back to the student preview. So then you have a better understanding of how it looks like.
Raj,
yes.
Abdal, I would like to give another tip.
Yes.
Whenever they ask for a question name, better
Yeah.
give name instead of numbering. Name question. Just put question name 4.
Yep.
But my tip is whenever there's a question name box,
Yeah.
better the name of the question instead of numbering, because if we don't get confused. Okay.
Boleh juga doktor, boleh juga, no problem, boleh. So remember just now, if you look here, these questions here, okay, what happens here is I have the 3 questions, right? Rang, river, kidney. So please select the best match. So instead of giving the 3 answers, here I have 5 possible answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the students have to choose the right one. So they are distractors in here, because if you give only 3, then they can estimate. So at least you give more, then students still have to choose the right answer. So this is how it is lah. So this is how we can do fill in matching with more possible answers. Okay. Now we go back to Putrablast. All right, so we add another question. So this is how do you do the matching question. So next one would be short answers. Okay, so we go back to the short answers. Okay, these short answers are basically is you can adapt whether you want to change your short answers to essay form. It's not to say essay must be long. Even short answers can be like, let's say half a page or whatever. You still can be put it under essay. But short questions here means really short short answers whereby you just want to provide the system for them to mark. If you don't want the system to mark the short answers, then put it as essay, because then you have the option of marking it manually. Okay, but short answers, okay, let's say for this, right? Okay, like what Dr. Abda suggested is you can put in the question here if you want to as well. Yeah, but I'll just leave it question. There's no right or wrong. It's all up to you. As long as the flow and the way it looks on the system, it's absolutely fine and you're happy with it, there is no problem. Okay. Okay. Let's say my short answer question is this. Let me just go. Okay. Question number 5. Let's say, which gland regulates melatonin and circadian rhythm? So there's only one answers, right? So this is the question here. And then if you look here, if you look down, okay, your marks is still 1 if you want to keep, or you want to keep 2, 3, up to you. Here, when you have this case sensitivity, it means whether you want it to be very case sensitive, whether capital letter or non-capital letter is considered, then you can say yes, case must match. If whether the student put the capital or non-capital, it doesn't matter, then you just say no, case is not important. So this is where you can put in here. So the right answer would be, okay, so example here, this right answer would be pineal gland. Okay, for example, right, this is the right answer. So then you can put the right answer here and give them 100 marks. So this is how. So if the answer is small p here, it's fine, it still be considered as 100. And then if you want to provide other optional answers and you want to give them marks as well, let's say they only put pineal, let's say pineal. You say, correct also, right? Because what gland, you can put pineal. If you want to give 100, you can give 100. If you want to give, say, maybe I'll give 50% for this if the answer is pineal, okay? Okay, and then maybe they put brain gland. Okay, a small one. If you want to give very little marks, you can do so as well, maybe 5 marks. If you don't want, can. So these are all possible answers to your questions, okay? Right, then you can give marks. If you don't want, you just say, I want them to give pineal gland alone, then you just put pineal gland alone, okay? This is how you can set the marking system here within the short answer question. No tries, no tags, save question. Save the changes, it goes through here. So this is your question number 5. So if you see, all this is, because I've set it as 1 question per page, you can do so. This is how you do. If you want to modify, you can. What happens is you can see this arrow here, you can move this question wherever page that you want. Okay, you can edit after setting the questions as well. Okay, and then if you want within page 1, you want to have another few more questions, you click not the top one, the bottom one here. It will add questions within the same page if you want to do that for future. All right, so now let's look at this short answer question in students preview. This is how the students will look at this thing. So which gland regulates melatonin and serotonin? So they have to type here. Okay, they have to type here. Okay, so wrong spelling, whatever is all captured here. So whatever response they put in, it will be automatically captured. So not a problem at all. Okay, so this is how you set short answer question. But if it's a short answer question, but it's like sort of a short essay, I would recommend just put it in essay, will be nicer. Because for this, for this short answer question, you have to provide them with an answer. If you do not provide them with an answer, then you cannot create those short questions. Okay. Now, oh, we still got time. Okay, good. So now we go into the essay question. How do we set question? Okay, I'm not going to emphasize on calculation and numericals for today because we won't have enough time. I want to try to show you the options of drag and drop. Okay, numerical, you can come and ask how you want to create, because it takes a longer time, because you have to set how students are going to answer the question, whether you want to see the continuation of the calculation or you want to see the end answer. So if you want to, we can have a discussion that on later on. You can come and contact me anytime. Okay. So now we go back to the essay question. Am I sharing this? Not yet. Okay, so this is the essay question here. Okay, I click essay, and then you just click this. Okay. Let's say my question is this. All right, so you have question number 6, let's say. Then put in, briefly describe the regulation of potassium, of plasma potassium. Let's say this is the 8 marks. So you can change here 8 marks if you want. You want to put here as well, then students are familiar with the normal, there's no feedback. Now, this is where the difference is. Okay, here, the response, whether you want them to be plain text or whatever, or no online text, I'll just leave it as a default. HTML editor means either you can just type in. Okay, all right. Then whether it requires students to put text, yes, students is required to enter text. If no, if they want to put in images, then you just say text input is optional. Okay, but for this, yes, I want them to put in a text. Okay, then here the next step is how big of a text you want, whether it's 15 line, 5 line till 40 lines. So it's all up to you in deciding how many lines do you think is suitable. Let's say maybe 20 lines. Okay, and then whether you allow students to attach, maybe you want them to draw and then take a picture and attach, then you can put them allow attachment. And then if you allow one attachment, what kind of attachment do you allow them? Okay, attachment only one. What other types of files that you allow? Whether you allow only audio files, document files, you can select here. Okay, if you want to give them a chance to draw and take a picture and put it in, you can do so. If you don't want, it's also absolutely fine. So I'll say I do not allow any attachment for now. So they just have to answer what is in the text box only. Okay, all right. So the response template here is basically, if you click here, any answers will be displayed in the response box. So I don't have to remember too much. So I just leave it as default because I want to grade it manually. But if you don't want, there are ways where you want to put in the answer and ask the system to detect all these answers rigid. If you want, you can do so, but then it requires a lot of formatting. I prefer manual grading. Okay, text. So I'll just save changes, nothing to change. So now we'll go back and see how it will look like for students preview.
Manra, sorry,
Yes,
can I
yes.
interrupt?
Yes, yes.
Okay, the required text kan, kalau kita nak allow student to draw some a figure, so
Yeah.
dia boleh letak lah kan? Sebab by default dia by text sahaja.
Yes. If you want them to
Okay.
draw, yes. But I would advise For them to draw, they draw on a piece of paper and take a picture and upload. It'll be easier compared to using mouse and drawing, because they're not used to draw with mouse, can? You know what I mean? You want,
Yes, yes.
let's say cycle, crab cycle, they can draw on a piece of paper, take a picture and then upload. Boleh? With the options. So for that kind of thing, you allow them to use attachment.
Better attachment, yeah? Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Maharaj.
Because imagine you drawing with mouse, susah sikit lagi kan, daripada drawing on a piece of paper. Yeah, I would suggest take a picture.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So this is how the essay would look like. Briefly describe the regulation of plasma thing. So you have 8 marks here. Okay. So this is the amount of space that they can answer all the question here. Okay, let's see. They can answer all here. So here they have no option. They only can highlight or bold or whatever. But if you have attachment, then there are option to upload attachment here. Okay, at the bottom here. Okay. Let's see. Let's close this preview. Let's go back and see if we allow them attachment, how would that preview looks like? Okay. I'll just go to Putrablast. Okay, so this is where I want to edit. I want them to allow attachment. Okay, so attachment here. So allow one attachment. Attachment is you have to have one, and I want them to be, let's say, okay, a document lah. It's fine. Document, do doc or whatever. Draw if you want. Images also can, JPEG or whatever. Just put in, no problem. I'll say okay. I want it to be okay. Document file. Okay, I save changes. Okay, so now I'm just going to save change, and then I'll go back and then open up the student preview. Okay, so here is still my same question. How briefly describe the regulation? If you want them to attach attachment, this is still the text option. Can you see the option bottom here? So this is where they can upload or drag and put in those specified files format only. Other formats are not accepted. Okay, so this is where the student can put in their answers. So it will be captured and put into the system. That's why I say that it's very important. If we want all the students to do this, it's very important they have a practice run before sitting down for the e-assessments. So it can be done. This is how it looks like here. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, Manraj.
Okay. Good.
From my side.
Okay, I think got a few more only left. We still got a bit of time. 11 o'clock. Oh, okay. It's already about time. Okay. Let's say I want to go into a drag and drop option. We have 3 types of drag and drop option here. Drag and drop into text. It means you provide a sentence, right? And then you leave out a few words. Okay. I'll go very quickly. I'll show you 2 more because of time. Drag and drop option here, and also one more, labeling images. Okay, so we covered that 2, and then if any more additional, I will provide the link, or you can come and ask me as well. Okay, because we have only about 20 more minutes. Okay, sorry, I take too much time. Okay, let's say we go to the drag and drop option into text. Okay, let's say this is my option here. I'll just add. Okay, now it goes in question number whatever question. Okay, let's say, please drag and drop the best possible match. Okay, all right. So okay, let's say so here is where I put my question in as well. Okay, let's say this is my answer. This is what I want them to answer. Yeah, I'm just okay, let's say the same answers are the same question. This is my answer here. Okay, I want them, this is the complete answer. Pineal gland regulates melatonin and circadian rhythm. Okay, so this is where we usually want to do is we want to put here isi tempat kosong, right? Let's say, so this isi tempat kosong is basically, you don't put a line in, you just have to put brackets. Okay, so you have to put double brackets. Double brackets. This is called the double brackets. X close brackets. Okay, so this is where isi tempat kosong. So you tell that here is where the students, you are telling the system this is where the tempat kosong is. Okay, X is a number. The number means the right answer. Okay, all right. So let's say X regulates melatonin and circadian rhythm. Okay, so let's say here, okay, I want 1 mark because there's only 1 mark. You want to put 2, no problem. Choices. You can shuffle the choices. The answer here is very important. So the answer is whether it's pineal, whether you want pineal or skin, okay, or liver. Okay, so you put in all here. So these are all the options. Okay, and here if you look here is they can do grouping. I'll talk to that about later on, the grouping. But now this say we have 3 options, right? We want to drag them pineal, skin, or liver. We know the right answer is pineal. Okay, if you put pineal, can you see the choice here? Choice number 1. If pineal was choice number 3, then you put number 3. So you go up where the right answer is. Answer is number 1. So you tell the system will know I have to put tempat kosong, but the right answer is number 1, regulates melatonin and circadian rhythm. So if you put that in, okay, no feedbacks, no tries, save changes. Now we go into and see how it looks like in the student's perspective. Stop sharing. Okay, now if you can see here, please drag and drop the best option. So this is the tempat kosong, regulates melatonin and circadian rhythm, right? So students can pick and put in. If they don't want this, they want to do this. They don't want this, they want this. So you have this option of drag and drop, okay? But sometimes you within that sentence you want to have multiple tempat kosong. You can do so by putting more of the brackets. So we're going to do that now. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, let's say we go back and edit this question. Okay. So this tempat kosong here. Okay, let's say I want this tempat kosong, and then I want this one. Let's say N. I want it to be they have to fill up whether it's N or whatever. Okay, so this is another tempat kosong. X, I don't know what is the right answer yet. Okay, so I can go down to the option here, right? I can just continue. I want to put N, or I put O first. Okay, O, and then put N. Okay, so what happens here is now I know the answer must be both. So the right answer will be number 5. So I put here number 5. Okay, but one thing very important here is this is where we call the grouping. Okay, the grouping means within this first question, what are the possible matches? So let's say I want them only to pilih 3. So I group them as A. For the second question, I want it to be only between N and O. So you put them as another group. So every group will have different color. The first color will be white, the second color will be gray, the third color will be many colors. So everything will have different shape and different colors. Okay. And then this is where you can group them. I'll show you later on. It's easier when you see the picture. And here is to click if you want to have unlimited. It means you can have one possible answers for many sections. You just want to make students confused, you can do that. It means when they choose pineal, there still be another pineal to drag again. If you want to provide unlimited, you can just click these options here. Okay. But usually, if you want to leave it just 1 for 1, then we can do so. Okay. I'm just leaving 1 for 1 now. I'll save changes. Now let's go back and look at the students preview. Okay, so this students preview, I'm sharing with you now. Okay, if you look here, can you see now? Right, this is a square. The first question, you have only 3 answers. Your students can put all this in. Okay, right? This is group A. Group B is only this. Can you see? Right? So they have only these 2 options. So what happens is, if student try to put this one in, it cannot match. Can you see the shape and the colors is different? So these 2 will only answer this question. These 3 will answer this question. If you don't want, you can put all of them and up to them to put wherever they want. You can do so as well. So this is how we create drop and drags within the text option. Okay, so now we go to Putrablast. This is the last question. Okay, the last one would be, yeah, let's see which is nice, huh? One thing which people haven't touched too much on, I think for even Kate, they haven't touched too much on the drag and drop markers or drag and drop onto image. Okay, what I would like to say is we'll do on markers. Okay, it means you want them to label. This takes a bit of time, huh? Because you want the system to mark itself. Okay, this takes a bit of time. This is among the most difficult one lah. Not really very difficult, but tedious. Okay, drag and drop means you have an image. You want them to label the image. Okay, this is how we do it here. Okay, let's say question number 9. I don't know what question will be. Let's say please select the best match. Okay, let's say this is your question here. So if you roll down, okay, maybe I want 3 because I'm asking them 3 marks. Okay, here is very important. Here is you want to highlight drop zone which has not correct answers, mark on them. This is where you have to, I'll tell you later on. Don't worry too much. Let's go to preview. Say first you upload the image that you want them to label. Let's say you want them to label. So what you can do is you can go and check in your computer file. You can upload a file as usual. Upload wherever, URL or whatever. Let's say you upload a file here. All right. No. Okay, let's say this one. I want to upload this image. I want them to label the bones on the arm. Okay, so this is the image we have. Just remember, when you upload any images in Putrablast, the maximum is 80 megabytes. Anything above, you will not upload. Okay, so this is the picture here. So I want them to label this part. Okay, what is this? So I want them to do humerus, radius, and ulna. Let's say. So this one is where the markers are. So you want to say, I want to pre-create, you can shuffle. So shuffle. So this is where I want them to label. So humerus, radius, ulna. Okay. All right. So this is where I want them to drag the humerus and put it at humerus region, radius at radius region, ulna at ulna region. Here is infinite. It means either you want to have a lot of options of humerus, or you just want to provide one. Let's say if you just want to provide one, I'll put infinite so I can show you later on. Okay. Then you want to have more answers, you can. Now this part is where the tedious part is. Okay. If you look at the image here, now you want to tell them, okay, this is where the humerus part is, correct? But wherever now the drop zone is, wherever the student drop those humerus, is still counted as correct. That's where you have to define the region. So you want to define a region which is slightly bigger than this. Okay, right? So wherever they drop within this region, it's correct. So how you do that is you create the drop zone. This is where you have to play coordinates. Okay, so this is where a bit difficult is. Okay, let's say I want, okay, the shape, because you want to tell what kind of shape that region of correct is. It circle, polygon, or rectangle? Let's say I want it to be rectangle. Okay, so this is where the coordinates. So you have to play with the coordinates. Okay, so this is the marker. Marker means what is the right marker, which is humerus. So where the humerus should sit, this is the right coordinates. So at the moment when you just click this, if you scroll up, you can see humerus is up here. So only when student put within this region here, it will be correct. If they put it here, it's going to be wrong because you have defined this as the correct region. But don't worry, the coordinates, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, the first two is the coordinates, the x and the y. The last two is how big the size that you want to. Okay, so let's say the first one, the first 0 here is how far the region. Okay, I want it to highlight this region here. Okay, so it means the first line is how far is it from the y-axis. Okay, and then the second one, the second 0 is how far is it from the top axis here, the x-axis. Okay, so if you change the numbers, this box will change. Okay, let's say I want it to be how far. So if your picture is very big, okay, very big, the maximum it goes from here is 800, 600. Okay, but usually the normal size is about 300 to 240. 300 times 240. Okay, let's say I'll just put a number. This is where we have to try and error lah. Okay, let's say 100. Okay, so if you move 100, you see this text now move on from here, it moves here, right? So it moved from this axis here. Okay, 100 looks like same region, correct? Now I want to bring this down. So how far is it from the topmost? Let's say 50. I'll put 50 here for the second one. 50. Ah, okay, it reached there. So something like this. But you say, means the student will pull the humerus only in this small box, it will be considered correct. If they put it somewhere here, it's not correct. Oh, it's too small. Now I want to enlarge this box. I want to make it 100 by 100, let's say. Okay. Means they have to put this side. This side they put here is going to be wrong. So you have to play with the numbers, okay? So example, the ideal one, I've played with the numbers. So I'm just going to put in the numbers, okay? 70, 30, 100, 150. Okay, let's say this one. So when you scroll up, can you see? So you just put in a number. So wherever the student put in within this box, right? You have this space here, it's considered correct. So you're telling the system wherever the student drop within this rectangle box here and it's humerus, is going to be considered as correct. So you can play around, okay? This is the bit tedious, okay? If you want to, okay, I'll just leave it at 1. You want to do that, you can do that for radius. You want to do that for ulna as well, you can, okay? All right, I'm going to change anything. I'm just putting in as a fixture. Okay, let's say polygon. Okay, okay, let's say this one. All right, I'm not going to change anything here because I don't play a try and error too many. Just make sure. Okay, now I want to show you the preview. Then you have a better understanding. All right, so. So yeah, so this is how the student will look like. Please select the best match. Okay, so they have this match here, right? Humerus, radius, ulna. So what happens is students will have to carry this out, right? And label it correctly. So where is the region that is considered correct is this arrow here. This is a target. So they have to put the target within this specified thing to be correct. If they place it here, it's going to be wrong. If the place here is wrong, because this target is considered not the word. So if they place this one like this, then it's going to be considered as correct. Understand? So this is where just now we specify if they drop within this box or here, it's still considered correct. Or down here a bit, it's fine. Okay. So this is how. So this target is where they have to make sure it's aligned. Okay. Remember, I told you humerus is only allowed as 1. Ulna is allowed multiple times, or radius is allowed multiple times. Yeah, can you see ulna is allowed unlimited? So ulna will always appear forever and ever. So if you have the option that you can put in a few, do it so. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So you have to set. But sometimes people say, I don't want to set the coordinates. It's a bit difficult. I just want to bring it and show you where it is. You can do so as well. Okay. So this is how we can drop and drag onto text, onto images. Okay. But you have to play with the coordinate. That's all. Okay. Last one.
Sorry, Manraj.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Khatijah.
The reason why we put coordinate is because nanti the system will give score.
Yes, yes.
Kalau so kita nak manually marking, so you don't have to put coordinate.
Yeah,
kan?
but usually the system might ask you to put in the coordinates.
I see.
Okay, because
one more question.
Yes.
Okay, one more question. Just now, this type of question macam drag and drop.
Yes.
Boleh tak the same question macam you have picture tapi you want students to type in the answer?
Yes, can. That is the next one.
Alright, thank you.
So that is the next one. Okay. Yeah, I share my Putrablast.
Maras, sorry,
Yes,
drag and drop
yes.
onto the image tu kan, untuk kita define region, memang kena very detail lah, you kena tahu the coordinate. Kalau kita just drag from that particular, for example, yang you tulis tu kan, tarik macam kita selalu buat tu, tak boleh ya?
Tak boleh. For this tak boleh. The coordinate. The next one boleh. So yeah, because you know why? they want to provide you with the flexibility, how big you want. If they put in the tarik, there's another one, which is the drag and drop onto images. That one you provide the answer, right? Where you create a tempat kosong, so student just have to drag and drop and put it into the tempat kosong. This is the drag and drop onto image. That one can.
Image.
This one,
Alright,
they have to identify that region, the right region. Okay? This usually kalau orang tak nak buat drag and drop on markers, they'll do drag and drop on images. This is what we're going to do now. Can you see this one?
Okay.
This is what we're going to do now. Okay? So here, okay, let's say this question number 10. Okay. Same thing, best match. All right. So same thing here. All right. So you have this preview here. Okay. I'll say I want to put in the same image. Okay. The lah easier. Tak nak confusekan semua orang. Okay. I'm just going to upload. Okay. So this image, right? So now what happens is you still have the drop zone and you have a draggable item here. It means now what they will need to drag is, if you want is that you can do is, okay, you can provide them with text or image. Maybe you don't want them to, you want to take out this bone. You want them to attach the jigsaw to this bone. You can do so. Okay, I'm just going to click shuffle. Here, the draggable item, whether it's an image or it's a text. If it's image, you have to provide the image of this humerus here. Okay, but just make sure this is how big is your image. So if you're going to drop the image here, make sure it's smaller than this original image. If it's not, then it's going to have a bigger image compared to this mother image here. Okay, so maybe you have to just highlight this. So you have to play a bit of the editing lah. Okay, but let's say you don't want image, you want text, only the text. So let's say I want only the humerus. Okay, and then this is also same thing. Grouping unlimited is the same thing. If you want, you can do so. Group A, group B, radius, and then let's say text. Another one is ulna. Means you are just dragging the text, not the image. If you want to drag image, you can do so. These are all the options here. Okay, drop zone. Now the difference is, now you have to tell, okay, I want to drag humerus. I want you to drag radius. I want you to drag ulna. But here now, right? You want to put in a coordinate, you can do so, but you don't have to change. You just go up to the image. Just now you have the image. Can you see the bottom here? Now you have this bottom part of the system. So now you just can tell that I want them to put here, radius is here, humerus is up here, let's say. So what happens is they're going to create a tempat kosong in this coordinates. So you already defined the coordinates here by just dragging up. And if you scroll bawah, if you scroll down, it will give you the automatically coordinates. Then you just, no feedback, no try, you save changes. Now we look into the student's perspective. Then you see how is it different. Okay, can you see now? Now they have already defined this area here, all right? So now students will have to come and match. This way also, if you want, it's easier lah, kan? But if you don't, if you want them to label, pun boleh. So these are the options that you have. Okay, I think this is easier lah than finding the coordinates. But sometimes you want to be fishy, maybe one question, they have to really, example, the mereka couple, mereka tarsal may have to be very specific. So that might be that, but it's all up to you. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. So yeah, that is the option. And I think, is there anything else to share? But I think, yeah, so these are the most common type of, let me just share with Putrablast. These are the most common type of options that we have, okay? And there are other type of questions if you want. But that one, I think it's embedded, is more formatting. If you want, you can ask me. It's more of, you have so many questions, you want to set what kind of answers and automatically mark. But I think for beginners, this type of multiple questions that we've gone through is more than enough. But I'll provide the resources and I'm available to explain those if you want random matching, close type of concept. But I think, yeah, drag and drop option is also very interesting if you can try. And before I end the session, I think I want to show you how we want to put in from Word to Putrablast. Okay, let's say For this, I want to have another 2 questions, and those 2 questions are already in my Word document. Okay, what you have to do is you have to unformat this Word document and save it in a different format. Okay, let's say I want to share, and now I'm going to stop sharing my Putrablast. I want to share. Let's see. I want to share. Okay, this one. Okay, different question. Okay, this one. Okay, this is my 2 questions that I want to import into Putrablast. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to tell the system, because Putrablast is understanding this formatting, so you have to unformat everything here. Okay, so you have to make it into sort of a plain text. Okay, so what it means is you cannot have header, footer, foot numbering, page numbering, semua kena unformat. Okay, let's say now you see I have this number here, I have to unformat this number. I cannot have numbers here. Okay, this one also, question number 2 also, I have to unformat it. Okay, I have to just leave it empty. All right, and then also spacing, I have to delete all the spacing. I go here, remove or add. Okay, if it's add, okay, now if it's remove, I have to remove all the spacing, all the formatting. I just have to make it plain. Okay, so what it means is I have to remove all the numbers, all the spacing, and make sure your options are capital A, B, C, D. Let's say I want to import MCQ. Usually you import MCQs. Okay. Others you can import then, but then the formatting becomes very complex. I would suggest type in will be easier than formatting. But if you have a lot of MCQ, then it's easy to just import the MCQ. Just make sure the ABCs are capital with the dot, A dot, B dot, C dot, D dot, and then you want to tell the system right after that what is the answer. This answer won't appear in the student's question, but you will tell the system this is the answer. So if you want to tell the answer, it must be in capital answer, and then you have the semicolon. Pula dah. Okay. Let's say you have this answer and then you have semicolon, the right answer. Then you just leave a space and then you do the second question. How many faculties are there? All dot, 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 dot. Answer in capital, semicolon, answer is C. Let's say this is my question I want to import now. So how do you import? Very simple. How you have to save the file. Okay. So save as, okay, let's say I want to save on my desktop first. Okay. Now this one, you can give a title. You have to save it as not as Word, but as plain text. Then you save it on plain text. Then you click save. Okay. So now it's going to tell you what kind of plain text that it has to go through. It's not Windows. It's not MS-DOS. It's other encoding. This other encoding is usually you have a lot of options here, but it's Unicode. Okay. Our options here would be Unicode, UTF not 7, but UTF 8. So fix that, then you click OK. So it will save this already. Okay, so on my desktop is saved. Now I'll unshare, I'll go back to my Putrablast. So now we already formatted the Word document so that it can be imported into Putrablast. Okay. Okay, so how do we import? Okay, so now this is all the question bank here. You can change all the marks here and then the marks here if you want to edit. Now we want to go into how to import. So if you look at administration, down here, the question bank. If you click the question bank, you have the import or export option, okay? It's importing because you need to bring it in, okay? When you click this import, it will have this. What kind of file format? So just now was the, we put in plain text, that is considered as icon format, okay? So you click on that, you don't have to change anything, just choose the file. You choose the file, I want to upload from the file. I know I kept it on my desktop, wherever you kept it, find it, okay? Okay, so upload this file. So once they do this, right, you have uploaded the file already, then you click import. If it's successful, it will show you green thing. So it tells you it's all fine. You are importing 2 questions. These 2 questions are UPM stands for how many faculties are there in UPM. If you're happy, it's correct, you press continue. So what happens is they're going to take from the word and put it in the question banks punya system. So now if you look at your question bank, you have two more questions here. UPM stands for what? How many faculties are there? So it's already importing those questions into your question banks. So you can do that as well. Okay. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is the two questions. So this is how you can import your questions into all this available. So if you click on question bank, all your questions for since whenever are all here. So you have imported two more questions to be included into your questions. Okay, so I think that's it for how we design and develop questions and we put it into the Putrablast. Okay, so once we are done with that, we are happy. We can just go back to the course thing, and I want to show you before we finish. Okay, but one thing very important is, okay, let's look at the end here. Okay, this is where my question exams are in my Putrablast. Now, this is how the students look like. Once we have already set the question, I will say double check on from the preview. On top of that, if we go up to our name on top here, if you look here, our name, where we want to log out, we have switch role. So you can switch role to students role. Students cannot do that for lectures. We can do that. So we have students role. So you can try the questions here. Okay. So this is how it looks like for the students. Okay. This is how it looks like. And then if you want them to answer, you can answer, but because it's not open, so they won't have, the quiz is closed on Wednesday. Okay. So it's closed now. But if you want to open, you can try. So unless you want to change the timing to try on this time given to you, you can edit the timing and then you can play with the questions here. Okay, here is where you can try. So if it's within the time, they'll say answer quiz. Then you can click answer, and then you, as a student, you can answer the question and see how it flows. This is where you can do it. So I think, yeah, this is a quick one, but I'll provide more information. So what happens is I will email everyone in health sciences the video of this recording, questions in the chat if I can save the chat, and other resources which are beneficial to address each and every topic of this thing. But my piece of advice is, if you're not sure, just don't type. Okay, let's say I want to create MCQ in Putrablast. If you type that in Google, it won't come out because Putrablast is only for UPM. But Putrablast uses Moodle, so you can type how to set MCQ question in Moodle 3.8. If you don't put 3.8, it will show you the old Moodle is more complex. The basic new model is quite user-friendly into this. So you have YouTube or even Moodle.org. I'll provide all the information later on how you can use Moodle. Just type in basic questions in Google and you can create these questions as well. Okay. I hope I've shown you all the possible on how to create questions and design questions in Putrablast. It's tedious a bit, but it's not that difficult, and I hope you have a very good session. And I'd like to open the floor for any Q&A sessions.
Right. Thank you, Manraj, for a good insight, and I believe we learn a lot from this. Yeah, especially the new features of assessment in Putrablast.
Yes.
Any question to members, to the colleague of?
How about the chat?
Not really.
Okay.
They are talking more about the system. Okay. Not really about the question. They have one question from Prof. Azrina that asking whether we should do it in language, Devi language, but I don't think it's possible in Putrablast. What do you think, Manraj?
If you want to do it in two languages, you can, but then you just have to type lah versi bahasa English, and then at the bottom will be Malay lah. Then jawapan will be English, sengkang in Malay, right?
Will that be tedious?
Sorry? Yeah, it's
will that be tedious?
But is it compulsory? At the moment, I don't think it's compulsory as long as we do an assessment. Because even TNC Prof. Iqbal kata, as long as you're doing an assessment, it doesn't have to be the assessment at the end. Alternative assessment put okay at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Nisa. Even if you don't do
Yeah, I
final,
don't
it's
think.
fine. If you have 80% marks already, tak payah buat final pun tak apa, dia 20%, you want to change. At the moment, they allow you for adaptability. However, you still have to make sure the learning outcomes are achieved. Tu sahaja. What kind of assessment, whether it's alternative or e-assessment, is all up to you, the coordinators.
Hi, Manraj, Gan here.
Hi. Yes, there's Dr. Gan.
Manraj, I would like to know how can we print out the question from Putrablast so that we can keep a record in our file khusus?
Okay, what you can do is you can put export, right? So when you have the import just now, you just export. So you can export all the questions into this Word document, right? For Word document, you export it out. So you export as plain text, and then you can just print it out and keep it in your file khusus. That will be my suggestion. Yeah, and then also I'll just say, take a picture. Like now, if you have Zoom, right? Students are take a picture just for the record system. For this, the record, capture the image and then just put proof that you have conducted, student have answered. All right, and also when you go under Putrablast, there's a grade. Once a student answers, the grade option will appear. You can import or export the you can export the results as well. So how many students have answered, what are the grades, everything, and then the essay questions. I can show you input. I can show you one if you have the time. Wait, okay. Let me. I've already closed. Wait, let me see e-assessment. I'm just opening my PowerPoint slide. Okay. I'm just going to share something here, Dr. Gan. Just give me a minute. I just want to share at the end. Okay. How it will looks like in students' punya thing, right? Let me just share. Okay. Okay, so what happens is when you click the results part in Putrablast under the administration, the grading system, it will come up with all the summary. So it will give you a list. Okay, at the moment I cancel the student's name and thing because of privacy, data privacy and stuff. So you come up with this, the questions which they answer wrong, the questions which are answered correctly. So this all here, you can download option here. So you can download whether in an Excel form or other CAVS form. And then if you have essay, then it will tell you it requires grading. So you have to grade it manually, but you can read it, but then you can key in the grades into the Putrablast so that you can have all the answers for it, for all the marks for it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and then you can print this out as a proof in your filing purposes as well. Okay, but at the moment I cannot show you because the student haven't attempted this question that we said just now. But you can do that. But yes, I will email you step-by-step on guide how to look at the grades and how to import and export the grades as well. I'll do that, if that's okay. I hope I answer your question, Dr. Gan.
Yeah. Thanks, Manraj.
Right. Okay. Any other question pertaining to the assessment? Manraj, do you find any difficulties when you ask students to do within the dedicated time?
Usually, yes. Of course, students will complain. Students will go, doctor, not enough time. But actually, it's still, I give them 1.5 to 2 hours lah. But then, that's why I say for me, it's very important they have practice run. So they are already familiar with, okay, example, when we do drag and drop, right? It's not the first time they see drag and drop. They don't know what to drag and what to drop and where to drop. So prior practice before the real actual date of e-assessment is very important. And I've tried with some groups, it helps. They are better aware of how to address this kind of question. So I would say create a practice run with all the type of format of questions that you're going to do in your actual assessment. Let them play with it so they get familiarized. But timing, yes. But sometimes you want to give marker kesian pun boleh. If you want, put in a few minutes or a few, but don't make it too long because then students will get a bit stressed as well. But yeah, always I say tak cukup masa, but usually 1.5, 2 hours for how we set our questions for final exam, it's absolutely fine. I think it should be okay.
So, so in your case, you will prefer synchronized exam rather than asynchronized?
Yes, I would prefer synchronized because at least then
Okay.
we have a record, right? So like, because we do a lot of team teaching, so I'll say I'll have the Zoom, all student log in, because even if it's free, it's 100, maximum students also 50, 60. Then we can, because in Zoom, we can create groups, right? Let's say Dr. Lisa, you're teaching with me, you look at group one has 10 students. So I need six of my friends, or how many of you to assist, to help each other. We become moderator just to look at it if you want to. But if you just want to leave them, but we still have to be synchronous, because in case they have any problem, we still have to address. So they can go into Zoom and contact you straight away instead of doctor on WhatsApp or whatever, if you know what I mean, right? So yeah, I would suggest synchronous for the time being until they're familiarized, until we are comfortable. But yeah,
Okay.
that is my suggestion.
Thank you, Manraj.
Okay.
Dr. Manraj, I would like to share my side of the assessment. Well, when it comes to the assessment, the e-assessment, I actually had the first test conducted as a e-assessment itself.
Yes.
Even then, when I gave the students an entire day to actually 24 hours to actually complete the test, they were not able to some of them were saying that well, not enough time is one typical answer, but I think I had a few students contacting me privately, telling me that their connections broke down, and they just couldn't get access to internet. So
yeah,
I was contemplating whether to give the students the synchronous assessment or asynchronous, because I felt that take-home exam would be better in such way that, of course, for those who doesn't have the internet connection necessary for it to be conducted, then it will definitely help them the most.
Correct. I totally agree with Dr. Ng. Yeah, whether is there a right or wrong way? There's no right way or wrong way. That's why if you want to do synchronous, you have to address all the issues that student might have prior to the e-assessment, right? But definitely there will be laggers of the those are having problem with internet connection. Yeah, either you can provide them with alternative assessment, or you create another new set B, right? We have set B usually. Create another form and then put it asynchronous, but they're still going to have that problem. But then it's always advisable to tell them, please check your bandwidth. That's why it's very important. Usually Putrablast, you don't need a very high bandwidth, but usually a low bandwidth is fine. But yeah, address all the internet issues. If it's still a problem, asynchronous alternative assessment would be good for those bunch of people who can't log into at that given period of time. Yes, Dr. Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Thank you, Dr. Ng. Thank you, Dr. Manraj. And I would also like to thank everyone who has been here with us. We reached almost 55 participants at max today.
Wow.
Congratulations, everyone. So inshallah tomorrow, my team, we will discuss further on what type of assessment. If the lecturers has any issues, please come back to us or Dr. Manraj. We will happy to help.
I'm very willing to help. Yeah, one-to-one pun tak apa, boleh je. Okay?
Thank you,
social
Manraj.
distancing and makan kena ada lah, no?
Right. So anyway, maybe the key point here, we need to understand our group of students, whether or not they are able to do synchronized or asynchronized. Nonetheless, the most important thing, the course learning outcome must be achieved via whatever assessment that we are intended for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Manraj, any last word from you before we end up?
Yeah. So I hope now you have a better connection with Putrablast. It's not so harsh. It can be done, but something I would say, I think this is a new normal now. Online learning and online assessment is not going to go even after the COVID-19 has gone. It's going to be part and parcel of our teaching and learning. So something to get familiarized with. But yeah, if you need any assistance, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. I think most of you have my number. And lastly, before I end, I do apologize for any shortcomings. And I would like to convey my gratitude to to Dr. Nisa and the team for allowing me to share, and I hope it's been a beneficial session for all. And it was for me as well to refresh. So thank you very much. Have a good day. That's it, Dr. Nisa.
Someone is asking your phone number in the chat box.
Wow, siapa?
Okay.
012-5717-395.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.